Building wealth isn't easy, especially the first time. The first million feels impossible. It's full of pain, doubt, sleepless nights, and failures that make you question yourself. But here's what most people don't realize. Once you hit that first million, the next one comes faster, almost effortlessly. Today, we're going to explore why that happens
And how you can reach your first million faster by understanding the mindset, systems, and psychology behind it. Let's start with a harsh truth. Most people never make their first million, not because they can't, but because they give up when it hurts the most. The journey to that first milestone is a test of endurance, not intelligence. You'll make money, lose money, start businesses that fail, and watch others succeed while you're still struggling to pay bills. But every painful step is teaching you something powerful, something that compounds later. When you start from zero, every dollar feels heavy. You trade your time, your energy, and your emotions for a small return. You're working in your business or your job, not on it. You're learning how money actually works, how markets behave, and how people think. That learning curve, that's what makes the first million hurt. But then something changes. When you finally reach that first million, not just in money but in experience, you realize something incredible. You now understand systems. You know how to make money work for you. And start building processes that create opportunities automatically. The second million? It's not just easier, it's inevitable. Why? Because wealth follows momentum. Once you've built assets, networks, and habits that attract money, growth compounds. You've built leverage. And leverage is the difference between struggle and success. Let's break this down into 3 parts: mindset, systems, and leverage. Part 1. The mindset of the first million. When you're chasing your first million, it's emotional. You're fighting fear of failure, fear of losing, fear of looking stupid. Every investment feels risky. Every mistake feels personal. You feel like you're doing everything yourself, because in many cases, you are. But that emotional pain is necessary. It teaches discipline. It teaches delayed gratification. It teaches you to separate ego from results. Every successful entrepreneur or investor you know went through this stage. The long nights, the empty bank accounts, the rejection emails, that's the tuition you pay for financial independence. Once you've survived it, you no longer fear it. That is why the second million feels easier, because you've already faced the hardest parts. Part 2, systems build. Speed money loves systems. Once you've built one that works, you can scale it. Your first business teaches you what doesn't work. Your second business builds on those lessons. The first million is all about effort. The second million is all about optimization. Think of it like this. Your first million is made with sweat. Your second is made with strategy. You learn delegation. You realize you don't need to do everything yourself. You just need to design systems that do it for you. This is why rich people keep getting richer. Not because they're smarter, but because they've built systems that multiply their time and effort. Part 3. Leverage makes it effortless. Leverage is what separates the wealthy from the hardworking. Leverage can be technology, people, capital, or even influence. Once you know how to use leverage, your income no longer depends on how many hours you work. Your first million is linear. Your second million is exponential. Why? Because leverage compounds. If you've invested that first million wisely, in assets, education, or scalable systems, it starts generating returns even while you sleep. You begin to see opportunities everywhere. You realize that money is not something you chase. It is something you attract by providing value at scale. The moment you understand leverage, you escape the time for money trap forever. The emotional journey. Let's talk about the psychology of this shift. The first million changes how you see yourself. You stop identifying as someone trying to make it and start seeing yourself as a creator, an investor, a decision maker. It affects every choice you make, the people you hang out with, the risks you take, the time you value. When you start acting like someone who already has wealth, not in arrogance but in discipline, your actions begin to align with success. You become less reactive, more strategic. You think long-term. You invest in assets, not appearances. You say no more often than yes. And ironically, that's what brings the next million faster. The truth no one tells you. The first million isn't about luck, it's about resilience. It's built in silence with countless invisible efforts no one sees. The sleepless nights, the stress, the failed deals, they all hurt. Because once you've earned it, really earned it, no one can take it from you. You've built the skill set, the mindset, and the systems that can recreate wealth again and again. So when people say, the second million is easy, they're not saying it's free. They're saying it's familiar. You've learned the game. Now you're playing it with experience, not fear. Invest what you save. Focus on building one high-value skill, something that the market truly needs. Avoid distractions. Avoid get-rich-quick schemes. And most importantly, play the long game. The first million will take time, but that's okay, because every step you take is building momentum. And once that momentum hits, once you cross that invisible line, you'll see how money starts flowing differently. The effort doesn't stop. It just shifts from survival to strategy. It's just the reward for not quitting when the first one hurt. It breaks your habits, tests your patience, and forces you to grow. The second feels effortless because you've already become the kind of person who can handle it. Wealth isn't about numbers, it's about mindset, mastery, and momentum. So if you're struggling right now, remember, the pain means you're growing. You're in the hardest part of the climb. Because once you reach that first million, you'll realize it wasn't about the money. It was about who you became in the process.